lot of questions about it. What works for you might not work for me. Now what we got a couple things to think about in manual mode. Now a couple things to think about in manual. Spitting all over the place here. But you have to be very, very. Now according to Web. Man, I can't talk today. The better you'll become at Good thing I'm not in front of the kids today. Wow.
The driveline includes the components that convert a truck's engine power and speed to more usable combinations of power and speed at the wheel. The first unit in the driveline is the transmission.
Hey, welcome to Sambo's place on this balmy 55-degree May day here in Northeast Pennsylvania. The manual transmission. Shifting that car, being a part of your vehicle, becoming one with the machine, that's a great experience. Manual mode on the Weber is very similar.
I'm dropping the hammer.
No, you're not.
Today, boys and girls, we're going to be talking about manual mode. This video is primarily for the folks who are entertaining the purchase of a searWood, or maybe you just got a searWood and you're still a little bit cloudy on what manual mode really is. Now, according to Weber, manual mode is a mode with which the PID controller does not put out bursts of pellets to the firebox, nor does it burst or pulse the fan to keep the inside temperature of the grill the constant that you set as you would in temp mode. Manual mode is just flat out drag racing. That's basically what it is. It's pellet drag racing. That thing is just on full fan and full pellet modulation based on the manual temperature that you set. Meaning, if you're in second gear in a car, you know, let's say a Mustang GT350, because I'm a Ford guy, you top out at 82 miles an hour. You top out at a certain temperature as per level of the 1 through 10 on the manual mode. Now I typically, as I've said in some of my other videos, I typically use manual mode around 6 or 7 when I do delicate things like eggs. Or something that I want to melt or kind of simmer slowly on the griddle. But I also use manual mode in 9 and 10 when I'm using my sear plate and I want to sear some chops or some steaks. Or anything that I have already imparted some smoke flavor to. And I've been getting a lot of questions about manual mode. So I thought I would give my comprehensive take on using manual mode on the Weber searWood. Let me specify this. What works for me may not work for you, but I'm going to share with you some things that I have found and some tips on how you could be a little bit more successful using manual mode if you happen to just pick up the Weber searWood. Now what we have going on behind me right now is what I like to call a burn-off. Now this is lesson number 1 with manual mode. You can't start your grill in manual mode. You have to start in temp mode. And then once you're set in temp mode, then you can bring it up to manual mode. And I don't understand why the Weber engineers can't put the temperature display on the PID controller interface for when you're in manual mode to see when your grill is actually up to a searing temperature or the manual temperature that you want. You have to use the app, as I'm showing you right here. Now right now we're on 9 and we're about 545 degrees and we're doing what I like to call a burn-off. Why? Because if you're like me and you're not married to your grill or you're outside cleaning it every day.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask about?
grease is going to accumulate. It's going to get hardened on the deflector, maybe down below. So every now and then, I like to crank this sucker up and do a burn off, because the worst thing that can happen is for you to do a couple cooks, a couple smokes, you get a little lackadaisical with your cleaning, then you decide, you know what, I want to sear some steaks. And then you get this, and you get all this blue grease smoke going, and guess what? Your meat tastes like burnt grease. So I like to do every now and then a burn off and just get it all out. A couple things to think about in manual mode, or keep in mind in manual mode, is there is a pellet selection that I like. When I'm in manual mode, I like to burn mostly charcoal pellets, because they burn longer and they burn hotter. And your grill is not very efficient in manual mode. I mean, it's like the sands of the hourglass in your pellet container. They just, I mean, this thing just... If you're thinking about buying a searWood just so you could griddle, but you already have a propane griddle, I'd hold on to that propane griddle, but just know that a propane griddle is much more efficient at griddling than it would be to burn through all these expensive pellets in manual mode. So keep that in mind. Another tip on manual mode. I like to start my meat in temp mode, because you got to fire your Weber up. And when you do start it in temp mode, you're going to get some smoke. And I like a little bit of smoke in my meat. So we have some steaks here. We're going to do a little bit of steak and egg action this morning. You can see that I already put them and smoked them somewhat for about 6 minutes. So they're going to go right on the Weber sear plate. I don't care if I'm doing burgers. I don't care if I'm doing steaks or chops or whatever. I like to get that temp mode up to about 225. Let some smoke into the meat for about maybe 4 minutes aside to 6 minutes aside. Then I'll take the meat off. I'll crank this sucker up to 9 or 10 on manual mode, drop it back on, and let it sear. You can start off in temp mode and immediately go to manual mode and then throw your meat on and let it cook as everything is coming up to temperature. But you have to be very cognizant using that method of letting your manual mode come up to temperature while you have the meat on it, because you might overcook and you might end up with rubber.
Sorry I'm late. It's just like this new schedule's totally confusing.
So, just a couple thoughts, just a couple tips on manual mode. Keep in mind that you're going to have some grease buildup. You should burn it off, or it's going to go into your meat and it's going to make it taste terrible. It's not very efficient. You're going to burn through a lot of fuel. You might want to check into the charcoal pellets instead of using your wood pellets for manual mode, because they burn hotter and they tend to burn a little more efficiently than the wood pellets do. And lastly, I would, it's just my opinion, it's just my advice, I would start in temp mode, put a little bit of smoke into your meat, pull them off, and then get everything fired back up to that nice 500 to 600 range, and boom, hit them on the sear plate and let them rip. Attempt these steaks. I'm at 124. I'm at 125. Shutting off your grill, you have two options. You could go through the menu here. There's your timer. There's your temperature. And then there's your shut off right there. I'd rather go into the app and shut it down from the app. Manual mode on the Weber. Look at that. Beautiful, pink, juicy. The flavor on these are gonna be phenomenal. And remember, anything we do new, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be pickleball, learning to drive a manual shift transmission car, manual mode on our searWood. It doesn't matter what we do. The more you use manual mode, the more that you will kind of tune yourself in to the nuances of it. So hey, happy grilling. Hope this helps all you people out there who have been messaging me about manual mode. Keep your grill on and enjoy your summer. Sambo out.